And hello, everybody. Welcome to the live show, and I am off center.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, everybody's kind of off center these days.
Yeah, well, you want good content. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the live show. This is a pre-show here. We're just getting things wired in and ready to go. I think we're looking pretty good. Yeah, let's see here. Do I want to use that? I don't know. 1 second here.
A beautiful Monday evening in mid-October.
Yes. Well, it's a good. I like it like this. I like it a little cooler, man. A little bit,
Well, it's actually really a little warmer than it's supposed to be this time of year.
I noticed that actually.
So, which is nice, which is great.
For you people, I want it to be fall.
It is fall. It's a nice fall afternoon.
There we go.
Don't have to wear much more than a jacket.
Change my background to something more appropriate.
You find where it is.
All right. So I think we're ready, right? We've got everything set to go.
I think so.
Yeah, we got topics. Docs look good. So, all right. I get that dock open over there. Got ramps and stuff over there as well as Twitch open. All right. So I think we're ready. All right. If you're ready, I'm ready.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Let me go here. Get on the right screen. Find my mouse. All right. All righty. So, you know what? I'm going to pull my sound. Oh, wait. Talk real quick. Let me see where you end up on the thing. Talk like you would normally talk.
All right. Yeah. I'm just gonna say words and do
There
things.
we go. Yeah. Okay, good level. All right, I'm gonna pull my sound and my recording just a little bit back. Check. Okay, yeah, that's good.
It's in the mail.
All righty. Red button time. Ready?
Yep.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Click.
Click.
Greetings, salutations, and welcome to the PlanesTalkers podcast, a show by casuals for casuals. I'm your host, Will Benson, joined as always by my, 10 years has never looked better co-host, Aramis Perez. Aramis, sir, how are you tonight?
Doing good. The 10 years you're talking about is my anniversary to my lovely wife.
Yes, it is. Congratulations on
this
that.
Weekend. Thank you.
Let's get into, because I'm sure we'll talk about that. But before we do anything, we like to start this show and every episode. We want to remind you that we are sponsored by Kerwin's Game Store. Kerwin's Game Store is the premier source for collectible card games, tabletop games, miniatures, comic books, retro video games, and toys. With their clean, open gaming areas available to everyone, Kerwin provides a fun and inviting atmosphere alike for new and experienced gamers. Take that again. Kerwin's provides a fun and inviting atmosphere for new and experienced gamers alike. With locations in both Catskill, New York, and now on the second floor of the Poughkeepsie Gallery in Poughkeepsie, New York, Kerwin's Game Store is the absolute best place in gaming. They have an amazing website that if you haven't been to yet, you should go. KGS Online. That's Kite Go Samuel Online or Kerwin's Game Store Online.com. You can use the promo code PlanesTalkers at checkout to get 5% off that online order, and we love it if you did because lets them know you listen to the show. If you do happen to go to one of the stores, if you're in the New York State area, make sure you mention you heard about the store through us. We also want to take a second to recognize our rare level patrons: Steve, Spencer, Chiba Tank, Nurse Gamer VJ, Bell, Josh, Jonathan, George, David, Anthony, and Dragon D's Nuts, because I just love that. He gets an and before that. But we have a new member, a rare level patron here. We want to thank Levi for joining up along with us. He played with us Wednesday night, actually. I didn't have the heart to tell him that he didn't have to be a patron last week because he was sitting in anyway. But, this week he gets first dibs. We also want to shout out our Mythic Rare patrons, Jake and Jonathan, and Imagine Dragon the Sea Across Your Face. I love that guy. And then we can't forget our producer level patrons, Jamie and Walter, as well. These people help the show out in so very many ways. We couldn't do it without them now, so we thank you so much. One of the big things that they get is the chance to play with us. They get first dibs at the playing with us on Wednesday for our Commander Craft podcast, which will be not tomorrow, this Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. We usually, game one, we usually reserve for patrons, and then game two, we usually try to fit a non-patron in if we have it. So if you're a patron, go into the Discord right now. Let us know that you would like that spot on the patron channel, and we'll get you hooked up. First to get it, because I think, you're the champion, right?
I am currently wearing the crown with my Gen Arcanum Weaver deck that likes to do enchantment shenanigans. So yeah, check us out on Wednesday night. I'm hoping to go win again and maybe trigger after another. If I win both games, we would trigger Nemesis. But I'm just hoping to get some good games. If you
wish to, you have a choice.
Yeah, if I wish to.
And we also want to, that'll be Wednesday night. Commander Craft will be on all of our stations, where we play Paper Commander using webcams and spell table and microphones and sound effects and funny stuff. We also want to take a second to remind you that we are proud to be the flagship podcast for the PlanesTalkers network of podcasts. Really, there's just two of us. Our sister show Cantrip Cartel has launched. They are on Anchor at anchor.fm/Cantrip Cartel, and you can download them and find them on almost all podcatchers now, including Apple and Spotify. So for more, hit them up on our Discord. They have their own area, and it's very active in and of itself. You can find our Discord at discord.planestalkerspodcast.com. Finally, we want to remind you that we still have our survey open, folks. Please go to survey.planestalkerspodcast.com. Let us know how the show is doing. Let us know how we can improve things. It would just be great. But we are still in Untap, and, it's been 2 weeks because we took last week off because I had some family stuff. So I've been waiting to untap this. This is called Command N. It is a triple New England style IPA. So down the hatch for me. And Aramis, my friend.
Did you just say triple?
Triple. Yeah.
Great. That's great.
Oh, we're going fully off the rails tonight. So Down the hatch. And, sir, I'm drinking this as a toast to you. I'm going to ask you, because I ask you every week, how the hell are you? But, salute, sir. How the hell are you?
I'm doing very well. Like we mentioned right at the launch of the show, celebrated my 10th wedding anniversary over the weekend. We got married 10 years ago, which was it's been amazing. It's that 10 years has gone by so fast. She's my best friend, and she's currently dealing with our son right now, so I don't know if she's going to be able to checking in.
Oh, she likes to too. I love it. I still have to make a sound effect for her, but I got to be careful because she's like a wife. You don't want to go too crazy on the sound effects, like for my wife, I mean, it would be a ball and chain hitting the ground, but I know that would be inappropriate for Pam. So,
well, it's actually funny you should mention that because during our reception when they introduced us,
yes,
she came out by herself. And then she was like, look, she had her hands up looking. I was like, oh, where'd my husband go? Where'd my husband? And I came in with a ball and chain.
Wow.
The crowd, everybody that was there, they loved it. They got the biggest kick out of it. So then, it was great. But yep, 10-year anniversary. We went and got, had a nice dinner, did some leaf peeping, pretty low key. We kind of wanted to have a bigger celebration, but hey, guess what? COVID.
So yeah, and I really need COVID to go away. My wife's, she's not listening. Who am I talking to? She's playing RuneScape. My wife's 50th is in March. And so I'm hoping to put together some sort of surprise soiree for her.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you right now, my 40th is in January, and
you're doing it anyway. I'll be there.
No,
Mother Hucker, you better. I'm coming.
I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you after the show as to what we're planning on doing. Okay. But we're not going to have the big get together in January because we just don't think it's going to be where it needs to be.
Yeah.
We're hoping maybe to do it in the summertime because I've never had a summer birthday party because I was born in January. So that'd be a great way to do the 40th.
She keeps trying. Wendy does for me because I have the worst possible birthday. My birthday is the absolute worst day you could ever have. I was born December 25th at 10:06 a.m. The fact is, but believe it or not, I mean, and we all know how much I love Pleasants. Okay, I'm a big Pleasant guy, but it's very strange when it comes to my birthday. I'm kind of a damn purist, where I'm like, when I was a kid, they'd be like, "Do you want us to do your birthday in June or or when your friends can come?" And I'm like, "Well, when was I born?" And they're like, "Christmas," and I'm like, "That's my birthday." Sucks to be me. I mean, even as an 8-year-old, I'm like, it just felt like a gift grab. So she constantly, and really it's all about her. Can you imagine having, your spouse's birthday be on Christmas? Like, it sucks. And, she's looking for any way to be like, I don't want to make this day any more about you than we already do. And yet I'm still like, nope. My birthday's on December 25th. My mom was in labor for many hours for me, so sucks to be you. You're going to have to live with it. So I get it, but yeah, I'd love the summer birthday. I'm coming around on it, especially maybe for my 50th.
My brother-in-law was born on July 4th. So.
Oh, see, that's a cool birthday.
That's rolling a nat 20 on the birthdays right there. But yeah, that's what we're thinking of doing a big party for the 40th in the summertime, but doing something much more low key in January because stupid fucking pandemic.
I better be on the low key guest list. Now I want to be on the low key guest list. That seems like the A list. I want to be in the A list. No.
I will talk to you after the show about what we're planning on doing.
He's like, maybe you don't want to be. We're doing a what the heck was it there? That movie with the bride.
We're doing a human sacrifice.
Yeah. We're doing a Squid Game birthday party. What?
Full on Mayan interpretation of how birthdays are supposed to work. One of you dies. We must appease the gods.
Not it. Okay. I must apologize for last week, guys. We've had some major movement here. We had to have a meeting last week because, family stuff going on with the daughter, and then she turned right around, and we had a plan put together because it's been a little. Listen, anyone who's raised a teenager knows that there comes a certain point where you're like, where my wife equates it to having children. Like, she's like, there comes a point where you look at the baby when it's inside you and you're just about to birth it. You're in month 9 and she's like, just get this damn thing out of me. I guess with kids that are done with college and they've moved on, there's a point where parents are like, just get the hell out of the house. I don't care where you go. And Isabel, I guess, has hit that, and then she turned around, and I went with her last Tuesday to where her new apartment's going to be. We took a tour, and so she's going to go down and show it to her dad tomorrow. Like I did, like parent duty, and like I flew the flag, and then basically she's going to get it. So within the next 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, my daughter's going to move out. I'm going to get her room. Yes, I'll have a real studio, and but I mean, so that's kind of what happened last week. So I do apologize for taking that night off, but there was nothing I could do. We needed to have a sit down, the meeting and stuff with the fam. But other than that, I mean, it's been pretty cool. I've been secretly taking courses to kind of enhance my technical knowledge for no real reason other than, I'm 47 years old, and I passed my first Microsoft exam in a very long time yesterday. So, which is not easy to do. It's using new technology. It's on what's something called Azure. And I'm doing it strictly because I just want to enhance my knowledge of things like the cloud. So I went ahead and took that exam. I passed it, which I'm very excited for. So I might go on and take the next one just to kind of, again, it's been a long time since I've been certified in Microsoft. It's been about, I haven't needed to because I've been working straight along, that it's just not something I really felt I needed to keep up on. So it's kind of exciting to be a student again, but I'm looking forward to it. Other than that, I mean, Wendy's just kind of getting healthy again. She was sick for a while, and that's kind of everything. That's my haps. So, anything else going on with you?
No, we got some family coming up this week, which is going to be nice. I'm going to be taking a few days off.
Magic?
No.
Well,
not that family. It's a different family.
Well, let's kind of go into upkeep then. Let's tell you guys what's coming on the show. So for tonight, well, like I said, in Untapped, we like to kind of talk about ourselves, catch up. I show you the beer I'm drinking, and by the way, very good beer I'm drinking. Goes down very smooth for a trip. State of Standard, we're going to talk about that. Because Worlds certainly had an impact. It was our first major tournament that we got to see where Standard was kind of front and center. Then we're going to kind of go into, we're going to pivot off of State of Standard into the Worlds recap, kind of talk about some of that. Going to have a combat about should Standard see a ban. It is something everybody's talking about right now. And I imagine we might actually have combat on that. And then main 2, we'll go over some news about Crimson Vow. We'll talk about the stream I did today because I took today off, and basically we're going to talk a little bit about the deck I built today, and that's going to be kind of, that's going to be kind of our show, and that should get us to a full hour. So why don't we go ahead and get right into the main phase?
Main phase.
All right, main phase. So we had an incredible weekend here. I did get to watch a lot of Worlds because I was preparing for my exam, so I kind of spent a lot of time down just watching stuff. But Worlds happened this past weekend, and it did have an impact on Standard. It was, Worlds was what, 16 pre-qualified?
16,
yeah.
Yep.
Well, I wouldn't say top 16. It's like 16
well, yeah, the 16
pre-qualified.
qualifiers. Yeah.
So, and they were basically, it was a 3-day tournament. Day 1 was, half of day 1 was draft, and then they started the standard stuff. Day 2 and 3 was all standard wall to wall. We saw a lot of stuff go on, but I mean, the standard metagame, at least according to MTG Goldfish right now, it's kind of strange because I don't know how reflective it is of how standard is right now. Because I feel like Worlds kind of gives you an idea of what's really happening out there. Because, I mean, these guys tested tons of decks, and these are the decks they chose. But as it stands right now, Standard, I mean, mid-range and aggro, basically, let's just put it on Front Street. Mid-range and aggro are struggling against Control. Control is a freaking monster right now. Between Azorius, Izzet, and even to some extent, Teamer.
Grixis.
Yeah, and Grixis. Oh, freaking Grixis. Yeah, it's a little bit ridiculous. A lot of that has to do with, I don't know how much I can call control or tempo. I feel like, and a lot of it has to do with my wallpaper, Epiphany, today. I feel that Epiphany, right now in this meta, given that there are only 5 sets out there, that control right now, a lot of the control magic is just incredibly good. You know, but not just Alrund's Epiphany, but even Divide by Zero. There's that 2-drop.
Expressive Iteration.
Well, there's Expressive Iteration, yeah. But I'm thinking of there's a Memory Deluge, first of all, saw a ton of play. But
that's a really good card.
it's a really, really good card. But it was, let me see, I'm trying to find it here. It's a
Malevolent Hermit.
Yeah, Malevolent Hermit. Like, didn't see that one coming, per se. But just a very, very more powerful, I think, than we realized. The one thing that I think Throne did is that, in a way, we're some of the cards that we really saw do a lot of lifting this weekend are cards that have not had their day, but have been out for a while. You know, like, you know, all of a sudden the Kazandu Mammoth is actually a decent card again. You know, and that goes all the way back to Zendikar Rising. You know, Lotus Cobra, things like that. I mean, it's cards that we didn't play because Throne of Eldraine was out there and Mill and Rogues was out there. Now it's much more, you know, and I will take the hit on this. I'm wrong. I thought we'd see a lot more tribal, but we're now just seeing a whole lot of archetype. It's control or aggro or mid-range is nowhere.
where's your Morden Keenan? I thought you said Morden Keenan was going to be busted.
I owe you a collector booster. Shut up. But yeah, it's definitely a, you know, what do you think? I mean, taking a look at the list, I mean, again, I don't feel like this is indicative of Worlds, or maybe they just, because Worlds is 16 decks, it didn't move MTG Goldfish's needle. But I think
it's not going to move MTG Goldfish's needle. The Worlds field obviously is going to be a little skewed because the field is so small. The various Izzet flavored decks are definitely the ones to beat. There's a few different flavors of Epiphany that are out there. A lot of these decks do rotate around trying to get off Alrund's Epiphany. They have different ways of going about doing that. Obviously, we'll talk about Alrund's Epiphany a little bit later on in the show. But
what, you think we're going to talk about that in combat?
looking at the meta, in a technical sense, a rogue deck won the tournament.
A rogue deck went to finals. Both of them were rogue decks.
Mm-hmm.
But I watched the whole, pretty much all of Saturday and Sunday. I watched most of it. Some of that was, you know, I think what it was those were rogue decks. We've seen that before. Like, I would say Autumn Burchett's win that they did a few years ago was them reading the meta and bringing a deck that can take it. Do I think that Izzet Dragons or what was he playing? Temur Treasures? Yeah.
Temur Treasures, yeah.
Yeah. Do I think Izzet Dragon and Temur Treasures are tier 1 decks? No. Not in this meta right now. But I think they are, you know, I think that was a fine example of Yuta and Jean Emmanuel. And I mean, we could kind of pivot between State of Standard and Worlds a little bit. I feel like that was them actually reading the field and going, okay, you know, like they made a Venn diagram saying, okay, you got mono green, mono white, Epiphany, you know, here, these are like the 3 major archetypes. What beats those decks? Well, what beats mono green? Well, Dragons does really well against mono green. And what beats mono white? Well, Dragons does really good against mono white, but it can have a harder time with, or it can struggle with mono white, but it has a harder time with Epiphany. But I think I really feel like those guys went ahead and they tried, which is what you should do at Worlds, is they went and found decks that can take out, you know, they tried to make David take Goliath, and it worked, you know, and some of it, I hate Arena. I hate that we're doing Worlds on Arena, and we could talk about that during the event too, but I hate that we're doing Worlds on Arena because half of those matches I saw sometimes were keeping 2 landers and never seeing a land again, or keeping a 3-lander and getting nothing but lands. Like, and I understand that that's a part of Magic, but it seems like in Arena, it's more of an issue than
Yeah,
in real world Magic.
It's like it's the weird thing where it's as close to truly random as it can be, because when you shuffle, there may be some unknown bias that you have while you're shuffling your deck, that's not existent in Arena. But at the same time, it feels like, you have a 1 in 100 chance of having a 2-land hand that you don't see any more lands, and it feels like you roll that one a whole bunch of times. I mean, sometimes it's confirmation bias, sometimes it's just bad luck, but yeah, I know what you're saying.
I mean, well, when you see Jan Merkel and Jean Emmanuel both mull down to 5, or was it? It was Jan Emmanuel or it might have been Jan Emmanuel and Andre. I'm not sure which one it was, but basically there came a point where they both mulled down to 5. I'm like, holy shit! Like, that's just not a feel good. Like, you're lucky you both did it. But
I mean, there's something to be said about aggressive mulliganing anyway.
Right.
I mean, these people, obviously, these 16 players in the tournament they're the best in the world.
They are the best in the world. I can say that.
So they know.
And
know
I
the
think
decks.
Yuta was the best on that field by far.
Yeah, I want to talk about Yuta here in a second, but they know. They've practiced these decks for weeks.
Oh yeah.
They know the ins and outs. They know the lines. They know the percentages. They know what hands look good. I'm pretty sure they had perfect information, because I think the deck lists were open anyway.
They were,
so they
as
knew
of
what their
Tuesday.
opponent was.
Right.
Yeah, they knew what their opponent was playing. So as soon as they saw, okay, I'm playing Andre Strasky in this round, what kind of a hand do I want? You're going to be able to be more aggressive with what you decide to keep, because you're like, all right, well, I have this and this. How is it going to play out against his deck if he has this kind of start, this kind of start? You're making all these little decisions in your head, and in the end, yeah, you might mulligan a little more aggressively than you would otherwise. But at the same time, Arena has that nasty little habit of saying, oh, that's a nice hand you got there. It'd be a shame if you didn't draw any more lands.
Yeah.
And
that happened more than it should have. I do believe it cost Jan Merkel a win of at least a match, if not at least a game in the match. But it was definitely one of those things where I saw it all weekend, Now, don't get me wrong. It is weird that there's no real good aggro deck. I mean, I think green is the best aggro deck that's out there, but in this field, it's not. It's good.
They got what, 7th place?
Sam Pardee was playing really, really, really well. He was the only one, I think, to get to day two. Oh shit. Well, or he was the only one really in a great position. Like it became clear very fast. PVDDR had problems with it. A lot of guys had problems with aggro. Sam Pardee was doing really well all day of day 2, and then most of day 1, half of day 2, and then laid an egg at the end of the day. I think aggro just struggles, which sucks because I love aggro, but it struggles in this meta, and it definitely struggles when you get to Arena and things like mana, and you get to things like, that sort of thing. But I mean, some of his matches were, just nothing more than horrible draws, like Flood, and again, that's part of Magic. I'm not sitting here and saying that's not part of Magic. I've been playing Magic a long time. Flooding out and getting mana screwed, that's a part of the game. Yeah. But it happened, like, if you watch the Twitch streams and they're still up,
it just feels like it happens more often on Arena, or more often than you feel like it reasonably should if you were playing in paper. I get completely what you're feeling, and it's hard to say that without sounding like you're just bitching.
Right.
And I get and I understand that too, and I hate to be that guy where it's like, oh, fucking Arena did it to me again. But I see it all the time. It's at the point where if I'm playing a game and I see 2 lands, I'm like, well, I can't keep this.
Right.
Doesn't matter what I have. Doesn't matter if you, like, I kept a hand in Arena a couple days ago where it was 2 lands and 3 2-mana rocks. Still didn't see another land and still lost.
Yep.
Because you're spending your whole turn, putting down rocks and rocks and rocks. And meanwhile, your opponent is not missing their land drops and they're ramping. And you're like, well, I'm so far behind.
Yeah. I'm confident
So.
Arena is pretty biased and non-random, and my evidence is they have admitted the shuffler as best of one is not random. Well, yes, what they've admitted in best of one is that they look at two and say which one is better, and they use
That stupid hand smoother is what they call it.
and
Yeah.
it's
That thing is
ridiculous.
pain in the ass.
But
pain in the ass.
I do believe it is random. Here's the thing, though. You know, you see it less in paper Magic. Like, I've been watching Twitch streams now for 5 years, 6 years since I came back. And you watch Twitch streams and you watch these big events, you don't see Screw and Flood half as much as you do on Arena. And and here's the thing, I'm kind of a mind of like, okay, I get not doing a GP. I get not even doing a Pro Tour event. But for Worlds, for 16 people who you know who they are months in advance, why in the absolute hell didn't they bring them in? Why didn't they tell them, okay, you have to quarantine for 2 weeks, you have to be tested, you have to, you know, like if you want to play, and if you can't play, you're out.
That's the biggest problem right there is the logistics of it, because they would have to find a venue that was not in the United States, because a lot of these countries you cannot fly to the United States,
and a lot of these countries, a lot of these players are not in the United States this year.
Yeah, I mean the top four was Germany, Japan, the Czech Republic, and France.
Yeah.
So, but that's right now. That's the problem. Is global travel is hard to do right now.
I get that.
And having all of these players quarantined for 2 weeks and meet in a central location and all the testing and everything else, and some of these countries may not have the same kind of access to testing as other. It's the logistical nightmare is still just too big for that.
I guess I understand that.
Yeah, it sucks, because I agree with you. Worlds should be in person. Worlds should be in paper. I mean, yes, Arena is big and flashy and cool looking and everything else, but when it works anyway.
The problem too, though, is that I feel like this may be the last Worlds.
I don't think it's the last Worlds, but I think we need to hear something soon. We need to hear something soon. That would, like, I don't want to put my hat in that ring right now saying that competitive Magic is dead. We're never going to see World Championships again. I need them to say something before the end of the year saying, hey, this is how it's going to start looking. World Championship 28 is going to happen. This is sort of how it's going to work. You know, we're open to changing it with or without notice. I'm okay with that, even as long as they say something. But how would you
qualify without events, without Pro Tours? Okay, which is what we've been told.
Half of these guys didn't qualify because they still have the MPL and everything else. Yeah. I mean, like the random, like you and I had no chance at Worlds.
Well, of course not.
But in prior years we would have.
Yeah, I look at this and I'm like, I really feel like I have a strange sneaking suspicion this will be the last one, because they haven't said what's next, and it doesn't look like we're going to get in person. They're trying, but I think it's a little too soon. I think
it's still yeah. I think a solid year away.
And they're not having events. They're like, everything's going to be local. You're going to have events that are local, and
part of it too is they really can't.
Right.
I don't think part of it I don't think is them not wanting to. I think they want to.
Oh, I don't.
I think
they don't want to.
I think what part of it too is that they are really gung ho behind saying, "Oh, can't do it because COVID," which, you know what? Okay. I feel like if this was happening and there wasn't a pandemic going on, I'd be freaking out.
Right.
Right now, it's so nebulous. There's so much going on. I don't want to give them the benefit of the doubt, but at the same time, I just want them to say something.
Right.
But I think, honestly, can we pivot away from the negative and just talk about how much an awesome performance that was by Yuta Takahashi?
Oh, incredibly.
Can we talk about how impossible what he did was?
And it was. Here's the thing, and that's what
it was impossible.
Yeah. What he did, well, yes and no, because Andre almost did the same thing. Andre went like 9-0.
Yeah, but he didn't start 0-3.
No. But here's the deal. Like, I'm looking at this and I watched the whole day. And the fact is this is a prime example of a player playing better than his deck. In that Yuta, basically, he's known as the fairy guy. He loves playing modern fairies and legacy fairy. You know, he likes playing fairies in those decks. So what he did was he did Is It Dragons, which is he felt was close, which gives him invasion and gives him all this stuff. And he tooled his play style to play that deck to the best of his ability. And better, by the way, than some of the commentators. Because like I said, I did watch a lot. And the commentators would say something like, well, he's obviously going to do this, this, or this. And then he goes and does something different. They're like, oh, I see what he's doing. Oh, and their minds explode. Yuta Takahashi is a prime example of a above average Magic player that probably not many people have heard of, but everybody will hear of, going forward. He played an amazing day, and watching him play was exciting. I in some regards, I kind of, I was not a big fan of Jean Emmanuel. I was like, yeah,
I mean, I'll say this.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to watch Worlds. I remember checking in at the end of day one and seeing the standings and saying, "Oh, okay, PBDR is doing pretty well."
Andre's in first
somebody
place.
I think was it Strosky who was undefeated after day one?
Yep.
So I was like, all right, it's shaping up to be a pretty good tournament. Everybody's pretty close, and I saw Yuta was at the bottom, and I was like, oh well, that sucks. And then I remember checking in a little later in the day, and they were showing this video clip is going. Just blowing up on Magic Twitter of Yuta having completed that perfect 7-0 run to get into the top 4 and him just bursting into tears.
Yes.
And that is
even hit me. I was like, oh.
I mean, that is probably the marquee moment in tournament Magic history.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost bigger than the top deck because you could just see and that right there is the worst part of the fact of this this tournament being on Arena and being everybody in their homes. I would have loved to have seen that reaction with a arena full of people cheering and him just losing it on stage, having his friends mob him as he made top 4. And then for him to, to lose his, to break down again after winning the whole thing.
Oh yeah. He broke
going
down,
undefeated.
He celebrated and broke down every time he won. Yada. He kept yelling it. It was incredible to watch. I was glad I was able to watch it.
Yeah, and it really shows because this was one of the big complaints that a lot of the pros were having about how the professional circuit is right now, is that for whatever reason playing on Arena is so much more intensely full of pressure.
Yeah. Than
playing in paper for whatever reason.
Well, you've got that clock that will make you lose. You've got
there's the clock, but there's always been the clock. But there's something about playing online that there's more pressure to it, and it's just you could just see it, like it's just the wave of relief as it hit him after he hit the top 4. And I mean, he played out of his mind, absolutely
really
out of his mind. One of the best performances I have ever seen from any Magic player. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, this was his version of 28-3, where the Patriots came back in the Super Bowl, or when the Red Sox were down 3 games to none in the ALCS and came back to win.
Don't you fucking do it.
I wasn't going to invoke that.
All right.
But since you mentioned it.
Oh God.
Or being down 52-1, although this is a completely different league. I wasn't going to say it. You brought this on yourself, sir.
Because I thought for sure you were going there.
No, I seriously wasn't going to go there, but you obviously, have a gluttony for punishment. Okay.
I mean,
I remember that.
It was an incredibly great day to watch.
Crazy. What he did was impossible.
It really was. It was 100% impossible. Especially in the field that we saw with Epiphany. All right, out of the top 8, okay, it was Epiphany, Treasures, Dragons, Mono Green, Mono White. Like, I don't think even Mono White.
Is it Epiphany and Grixis Epiphany kind of do different things?
Right. I don't think
they played the game a little differently.
No, Mono White wasn't 8. Who was it? Number 8?
Mono White was 8th.
Was Mono White 8th? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Ray Sato was 8th, and then Sam Pardee was 7th with Mono Green.
Yeah.
John Merkel, Eli Cassis, and Matt Sperling were
Yeah.
Grixis Epiphany in 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah,
and
and
Izzet
Jan
Epiphany
and
3,
Matt Sperling was who I was talking about, where he had the game and just kept getting mana hosed, either screwed or flood, to the point where you're just like, oh, it just felt really
bad beats.
Yeah, it did. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, and Jean Emmanuel, he worked a deck that took advantage of a lot. Like, he was playing Teamer Treasures without Teamer, without Epiphany, surprisingly. Now, it bears saying Yuta had Epiphany.
Didn't he take them out during one of the games?
He took them. He usually sideboarded them out quite a few times.
Yeah, that's so like
yeah.
he didn't even really. His deck wasn't really an Epiphany deck.
No, but it did have it in it.
Yeah, so it's like, well, it's one of those things where it's like, it's a really good, powerful card. My deck doesn't need it, but hell, I'll use it.
But when you look at like the fact that PVDDR went down to like 12th, and now Norioki Mori, I loved his Azorius Tempo deck. He just got bad matchups and bad beats. And then Grixis Epiphany, Izzet Epiphany, Mono Green Aggro, Grixis Epiphany. It's like, I'll say this about Yuta's deck. Yeah.
You were saying you don't think it's the best deck in the format. I probably agree with that, but at the same time, I think this is a deck that is probably better than what you might be thinking. I think it's going to stick around. There's going to be an uptick of people trying to play it because it's the Worlds deck. That always happens.
Right.
I think it'll stick around because, I mean, if you think about it, Izzet Dragons has kind of been floating around the periphery for a few weeks now, a month or two. And Goldspan Dragons, I think regardless of what happens, Goldspan Dragon's not going anywhere.
I disagree. We'll talk about this in combat. Save it for that. But, spoiler alert.
I mean, that's
Goldspan is a troublesome card.
This is kind of a segue, if you ask me.
Yeah, but it could be a segue. Yeah, it could be a segue. We're professional broadcasters. Because I'll just say this right now. Goldspan Dragon and Epiphany are warping the fucking meta. In every possible way, by every definition, they are warping the damn meta.
How many Goldspans did we see in this tournament?
Most played card. Goldspan Dragon was sitting at. It's not even in the top 10.
Not in the top 10.
That's weird.
It's not even in the top 10 creatures.
That can't be right.
I mean, I see 4. I see 8. Let me look. Is it Epiphany? Is that playing any? No.
Izzet Dragons was playing it. Teamer Treasures was playing it.
Grixis Epiphany decks weren't playing it.
Well, no, they were using Lear. Lear's another sleeper card. Well, I don't think anybody's sleeping on Lear.
Then we got and then so that's only 8 Goldspans so far.
Yeah, but
8 Goldspans. No, Smoldering Egg seen way more play than that.
Yeah.
Izzet Epiphany and that one didn't even play creatures.
Right.
Yeah, so there's only 8 Goldspan Dragons in the tournament.
Yeah, it's a
ridiculous card. It's
a
very powerful card. What didn't show up very much was Renin 7.
Right. Well, Renin 7 really only showed up in the green aggro decks, and you only saw 2 of those, right? 3 of those.
Yeah, and they didn't do that great.
Sam Party had pretty good matchups. I think he took advantage of. PVDDR also saw some bad mana.
Seth Manfield just had a bad day.
Yeah.
So So you're thinking that Alrund's Epiphany and Goldspan Dragon need to go?
I think.
What about a Seeker's Chariot?
I love a Seeker's Chariot. I don't want that to go anywhere. No. Here's the thing. I think you can do. I think if you're going to do Alrund's Epiphany, I think I could see. Here's what I think. I think Alrund's Epiphany has to go. I think extra turns in a standard meta. It's just too and you add in, the fact that we have so many easy ways to copy that spell with galvanic innervation and shit like that. It just, I think Alrund's Epiphany is too powerful for this meta period. And so I could see them saying, okay, if we're going to take out that, then what's going to happen is we're going to see a whole lot more of mid-range treasure decks. I could see them because everybody else too is talking about Goldspan. So it could also be said that the two decks that played four of Goldspan Dragons were the top two decks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you want to go there, I think at the very least Epiphany has to go. I know Jake is sitting here saying it won't, it's appropriately costed. And it is appropriately costed. All right, it's a 7. And it's not like Nexus where, it's a 7 and you get it back. Okay, it's a 7 and it's gone. Now it sits in the graveyard, but it's a 7 and it's gone. But I feel that in Standard at the least, like I think turn spells need to stick to Modern Horizons and lower. Because I think in Standard it's too damn warping. And it's too damn it takes away mid-range. Okay, there were no mid-range deck. I mean, you could say is it Dragons is kind of mid-range, but I feel it's more tempo than anything. The fact that we had a world championship without one mid-range deck, like, I don't know. What do you think, Aramis?
I think you're wrong. Quoting a line from Civil War, that you're wrong, but you think you're right.
Wrong.
Is this just you right now? Is that, yeah?
You're wrong.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But so I will say this with a caveat. Alrund's Epiphany is the best card in Standard.
Yes.
And I don't think it's particularly close.
I agree.
The closest competition would be Asika's Chariot and Alrund's Epiphany.
Asika's Chariot and Goldspan Dragon, you mean?
Or yeah, Goldspan Dragon. Sorry. That being said, I still don't think that they ban it. I feel like Worlds was the measuring stick. And given the number of Epiphany decks that were here, what was that? Half the meta? 8 decks? 9 decks?
At least.
Yeah, I mean, the ones that were like
1,
actually called
2,
Epiphany, that's 4,
3.
5, 6, 7, 8. There were 8 that were actually called Epiphany.
Right, but Azorius Tempo had Epiphany. Is it Dragon's Head?
Azorius Tempo had Epiphany. Is it Dragon's Head Epiphany? But that's not what they were trying to do as part of their main strategy.
Right.
So half of the meta was an Epiphany deck of some flavor. Now, 5 of them made the top 6.
Mm-hmm.
Right? 5 top 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4 of them made the top 6.
Right.
4 of them made the top 8. So it was half in the top 8. So it worked out. Half started, half got there.
Right.
Didn't win. And I don't think, because 2 of them got, 14th and 15th place.
Right.
So some of that could be pilot error. Some of that could have been bad matchups, mana screw. I feel like as strong as it is, I don't think it's not warping things the same way Oko did, or the same way Uro did, or the same way Nexus did.
Or Omnath.
Well, Omnath never had a chance. It's and I feel like we are literally 1 month away from a new set, which is going to shake things up in and of itself. I feel like what Wizards is doing is they're looking at these results saying, okay, Epiphany had a decent day. Probably not as good as some people were thinking, given the share of the meta that they had. I think people were thinking Epiphany was going to run away with this tournament, and it kind of didn't.
Well,
It wasn't the steamroller wreck the world.
Levi, you can't compare that though. I got to interrupt because Levi's like, it's not nearly as warping as Eldraine cards. We don't want Eldraine cards.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, we don't want Eldraine cards, but that's the thing is that people are screaming about this as loud as they were screaming about Oko.
Right. And I agree. It's not Oko,
the same.
but we can't.
It's not the same.
We can't go by that because we don't have Oko cards. Okay, we don't want Oko cards. But
you have to have a best deck.
I agree.
You have to have a best card, and I think Epiphany is the best card.
Do you have to have a
I
best
don't-
deck or a best archetype?
You could have both.
I prefer best archetype. I think Standard's better with archetypes.
Top eight. There were 6 decks that played Epiphany. 5 decks that played Epiphany, because Team or Treasure didn't play it.
Right.
There were 5 decks in the top 8 that played Epiphany, Captain, but 4 of them, that was their main strategy. Is It Dragons had them in there and used them, but he boarded them out almost a lot.
Yeah, he did.
I mean,
Well,
yeah, it's still
5 out of 8 though. It's not.
It's still a big
Yeah.
a big share of decks playing Epiphany. But remember when Bone Crusher Giant was 100% of the top 8?
Well, yeah.
You know, everybody was playing 4 copies. It was the first time it had ever happened.
Well, yeah, because
So-
it was shock. It was shock
Yeah, but
on
it was
a
better.
body.
It was better.
Yeah.
It was better than Shock. It was so versatile. It had a creature attached to it. It was hard to remove. I mean, the biggest strike against keeping Epiphany in the format is the foretell. The fact that it gets around discard, so you can guarantee that you're going to get your Epiphany at some point by foretelling it.
Right.
I feel like we're too close to a new set. If Crimson Vow wasn't coming out in a month, I would be much more on board with banning Epiphany now and letting the chips fall where they may. Because we're literally starting preview season in like 2 weeks, I feel like they're going to wait. They're going to see how things go. I'll say this. When we made our wager,
Yeah.
I was 90% sure that they were not going to ban Alrund's Epiphany.
And now you're at 50.
No,
Oh,
I'm at like 60-70%.
okay. I'll take that.
I see that it had a good showing. It wasn't crazy. Obviously, there were a lot of them at Worlds, and it is clearly the best card, and your strategy revolves around that. But I like having seen some of the crazy standards we've had in the past. For some reason in my gut, it just doesn't feel like one of those standard formats. It doesn't feel like Affinity. It doesn't feel like Callblade. It doesn't feel like Oko. It doesn't feel like, the 5 seconds that we had on Math. It doesn't feel like that. It's strong. It's the best card to put in your deck, and that archetype of decks is the best. But there's a lot of different ways to do it. You don't necessarily need it, as shown by Is It Dragons. It's nice to have, but it's not so broken that it needs to go now, which isn't to say that after Crimson Vow comes out, if it's still crazy, you absolutely get rid of it. I'm on board with after Crimson Vow. If it's still nuts, then yeah, something needs to change. But I feel like this is one of those situations where we have to give it a little bit more time to breathe.
Right.
That's where I'm thinking.
I don't know that I can still agree. Here's what I think. All right. I think too that I think we could see Epiphany banned before CV. In that, if Wizards can look and see, because I don't believe they intended Galvanic Iteration to do what it does with I don't think they tested it with Elrond's Epiphany. And I think that that's where the problem card lies, is that interaction. Now, I don't think they get rid of Galvanic Iteration because it helps way too many other cards and decks. And copy spells are fine. But when you add it into the fact that, like you said, it can be foretold. Because there are a lot of ways, a lot of cards yesterday, I forget what the card was, that makes, dump like your entire hand and do something else. And like, not a wheel, but sort of like we saw it a few times where people had to dump all the cards they had and, draw again or whatever. The fact is that because it can sit in foretell and because of Galvanic Iteration, it feels like if they have another card, I have a feeling they're going to start looking at CV and going, is there some other way that's going to break this even further? Okay, let's ban it now before, either that or it goes the other way and they're like, no, people will discover this thing and it'll sell more Crimson Vow.
Right. Well, and I think part of the problem too is that because Alrund's Epiphany is played so heavily, and not a lot of other foretell cards are, that also kind of works against it in that sense, is that if you're playing blue and they foretell something, you're like, okay, that's Epiphany, I have to get ready for it.
Actually, what was kind of great was I saw Yuta. One of the reasons I think he sideboarded it out a lot is he was foretelling a lot saw it coming. So
Right.
so he would take that out, and he only had one copy in his he only had one.
So that's the bluff. So he's
Yeah.
foretelling that, and he also has there was another one in there. I thought that he had foretell maybe in his sideboard, maybe not. But that's the thing, is that most of these decks, I don't think they played. Did they play Saw It Coming?
Not a lot of them. A lot of them played Dissipate, and
Dissipate's good, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of them, and Jawari Disruption, jeepers, that was
Yeah.
everywhere.
Get you with the days.
Yeah, Fading Hope.
That's
too.
a good card.
A lot of people liked Fading Hope.
Yeah, because so that's the thing. Not a lot of other foretell cards are being played. So that's something that works against, in my opinion, Epiphany getting banned, because it's foretold. So they're literally telling you, hey, this is coming.
Right.
You know it's here. Hopefully a lot of people, like the top players. I like I said, I didn't get to see the tournament, so I don't know how often it actually was foretold, or if they just had it sit in their hand.
It was foretold quite a bit.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So they're like, hey, this is coming. You've got 3 turns to deal with this. Figure it out. Find an answer. Get a counterspell. Something.
But that's just it. It's the reason I say warping is that, okay, what the hell can mono green do against that deck? If you get to turn 7 or 8 and you're mono green and it's aggro, so yeah, you don't want to get there. But if you get to 7 or 8, GG. Like, you don't have, unless you're going to play tempo / counter magic, that's why when I say that Epiphany is warping the meta, I'm saying that in that it's like anything else. People were like, well, Field of the Dead, just run Field of Ruin, or just run this. Or it's like, well, yeah, there are a bunch of ways to deal with it. But the fact that you have to main deck or play blue when you don't like to play blue, which I don't understand, because, but it's just one of those things. I could see this happening. I still think, and I think it should. I don't think Wizards, and Wizards could sit there and say, you know what, mea culpa, that's on us. I guess we understand now that with this new style of Magic cards we're creating, extra turns is too powerful for standard.
Yeah, extra turns are a lot more powerful than they used to be. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. The value and ETBs and just what you can do on an extra turn is so much more powerful than what you could even 5 years ago.
Right.
So, I mean, I kind of agree with what you were saying. It's like, stop printing the extra turn spells in standard.
Yeah.
Put them in the supplemental sets. I think that's actually a really good fix.
Yeah, and that's what they can do, and that's what they should do.
Unless you make them cost like 9.
Yeah. Even if you make them not, you can't anymore. With the ramp we have now, dude, how many times have you gotten Sakama out turn 4?
Well, that's playing basically vintage.
I know, but in
essence, we don't have access to rampant growth. We don't have access to Soul Ring.
Yeah, but still, it's
hard. It's harder to ramp into 9 in standard than it is.
Yeah,
because most of your ramp spells in standard, if they're getting a land, it's coming in tapped, and it's costing at least 3 mana. If you're getting more than one, it's costing 4 or 5 mana to do that. So it's one of those things yeah.
And the fact is, I mean, we sit there and say it's a 7-drop, but let's be honest, it's a 6-drop.
Yeah, it's basically a 6 that it costs 7 if you drew it late.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't think we're gonna agree on this, but I
think Goldspan. I do think Goldspan is safe.
I think it's safe, but I don't think it should be. I mean, same
with the Seeker's Chariot.
I'm for having. I see. Here's the thing. I like a Seeker's Chariot only because it's an artifact and it makes 2 creatures, but they're 2/2s that die to any and everything, and then it's just sitting there on your side.
Yeah, but a Seeker's Chariot is really good with running 7. It's like, oh, look at that 7/7 token I just made. I'm gonna copy of that.
Yeah, I know. I agree with that. I understand that. But let's get into the main, because we're getting close on time.
Main phase.
Okay, so main phase 2, and we'll just say I won.
We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. Let's talk a little bit. The news came out today, and I put it inside our doc, Aramis.
Yeah, I see it.
That there has been some, as everybody knows, I mean, or you may not know, but here in America. Really? Alexa, hang up. Alexa, cancel.
Yeah.
Alexa, shut up.
Here in America, Alexis is omnipresent.
Yeah,
and
no fucking shit. Okay. So they're talking a little bit. Magic.wizards.com put an article up today saying that it's basically the title is Innistrad Crimson Vow product delays affecting North America. Long and short of it is TLDR, and it's not a very long article anyway, is that it looks like, and I just find this funny, given how much that they're trying to move us to set boosters, that they're basically saying pre-release weekend, there will be no set boosters available.
And it might not be available till after release.
It might not be available till
Whoops.
Oh, shit. Oh, and it's funny. It's funny because of, like, they're going out of their way to push the set boosters and to make it like they're trying so hard to change our mindset as to what a booster pack is, to where, and it's starting to work. It was starting to work. People were starting to think of set boosters as the way you crack packs in Magic. And now it's no, sorry. Draft boosters will be available. Collector boosters will be available.
And pre-release packs, which is very important.
Yes. But it's just, it's funny. So November 12th pre-release events in North America, we will not be able to get set boosters. So if you pre-order a set booster box, you won't be getting it until the day of.
Or maybe a little later.
Yeah, or maybe a little later.
That's the thing. That's the sentence that's really you have to keep an eye on. Is it says it possibly through fans should anticipate availability delays through release on November 19th. So they had a big supply chain hiccup.
Yep, which a lot of companies have due to the pandemic.
Yeah, this is happening a lot during the pandemic. People are trying to pivot where they're getting things from and who's shipping them and who's getting. There's huge there have been news stories about this where there's container ships just sitting off the coast full of containers because they cannot dock because they can't get the other ships unloaded because there's no trucks, and it's a mess.
Yeah,
and it's not going to get better for a while.
No, it's not. So
I would expect to see these types of messages for every set through next year.
I wouldn't say through next year. I'm gonna say till the spring.
Only because it takes months for the supply chain to catch up with real world events. The supply chain is always a couple of months behind how things are actually going.
Right, but as far as Wizards go, other than the dual set double feature, which is coming out January 28th, and Commander Collection Black, which is 28th, they don't have a ton of first quarter releases. They might have a supplemental set, but nothing's coming out for standard until March, I don't believe, right?
Right, but again, even if things are looking better in March, it'll be at least July or August until the supply chain is fixed from that regard.
Right. But by then since it's a later release, they can, because they already have the cards printed, so they can.
Yeah, these cards are printed so far ahead of time, but it's getting them shipped and getting them transported.
Well, what they would do is do it early enough. It's not. I think part of this problem is the back-to-back release nature of Innistrad this time, in that if they knew it was coming in January, it wouldn't be such a big deal. It'd be like, okay, we're just going to ship everything out first week in December, and if it's there early, you can't sell it.
Yeah, but since it's coming on container ship, it takes a long time to cross the ocean.
Yes, it does. So
this
is going to be an interesting time.
Yeah, next year is going to be just like this year. It's going to be just like last year. There's going to be shortages. There's going to be allocation issues with the stores.
You're not going to find Jumpstart 2.
Yeah, so if you pre-order something, there's a possibility that you might not get your pre-order until way later, if ever. So it sucks, but that's the reality where we are. This is not just affecting Magic. This is affecting everything. I talked to somebody at a barbershop who they ordered doors for their house, and the delivery lead time was about 6 months. And when they finally got them, they were the wrong doors.
Yeah, I believe it.
Like wrong size and everything. They had to reorder everything, and it's a mess. So we just have to suck it up for a while longer.
Yeah, and it's going to be.
It's going to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah. It's definitely going to be something we have to get used to. But,
hold on to your butts.
Yeah. So, with that being said, it's kind of, I just think it's ironic because it's set booster.
Yeah, no, that is the funniest thing about it is that, hey, set boosters are great. Here we're going to push set boosters. That's our bundles are going to be set boosters now. prizes are going to be set boosters. We're giving all these set boosters. We're shorting. We're intentionally cutting back the number of draft boosters we make. Oh wait, we're not getting set boosters. Fuck.
Oh, we can't charge you more. Well, we're going to charge you set booster rates, but you know.
I'm perfectly happy with the draft booster box if that's what it comes to.
Yes, me too. I wonder if Kerwin's is which one they'll send us. So
we'll have to see.
Yes, and so the last thing I want to talk about is we did do a special stream today. You were in for a little bit, but because I won yesterday, or I passed my test yesterday, my wife was like, you can do whatever you want today. And listen, I want you to understand something. You are my friend. I love you. You know this. I mean, I have very few friends in this town, and you made a point last week at the end of our very special stream with Steve and Anthony to kind of let your displeasure about my choice of decks that I've chosen to work on, and you kind of let that out. So I heard you, okay, and I realized I did.
Did you?
I realized that Slivers and Omnath are no fun for you. You're not enjoying that, and so I thought about it and other decks I've wanted to play. And I decided that I have ordered, and it'll be here soon. I mean, right now I just have it proxy because I wanted to have it, available for a thing. It should be here by Wednesday though, because it's already shipped. I went ahead today and I went through all of my cards through the last, 2 or 3 days, and I grabbed dragons that I think work, and I decided to build a dragon tribal deck with the Dragon as my commander.
Yeah. So here, you're noticing a theme here, folks. He had Golos, 5 colors. He had Slivers, 5 colors. He has Omnath, 4 colors, but that's only because Omnath doesn't have black in it. If he had black, he'd be 5 colors.
Yes, he would.
And now Dragon, 5 colors. So you can imagine what cards are going to be in those decks. Basically the same cards in all the other decks.
No.
Because the 5-color piles
No. There are
Although this one, I will be fair, this one, when you were building it, this one is going to be more heavily focused on dragons, which is mostly in red. But I imagine there's going to be a lot of the same bullshit from the other colors mashed in there. I'm looking to get you to...
I didn't put Rhystic Study in.
You should have.
I thought about it.
Should have.
But
you gotta build monocolor decks. You gotta build 2-color decks.
Why?
Because restrict yourself. Find more creativity.
I'm playing 5 color. 5 colors should be a restriction. I could have mana issues for days. But I did. I went ahead today and we built this, and it was kind of cool. Jake hopped in and Steve hopped in, and I fucking love Steve because I love how he'll be like, "Well, you should put this in there," and I'm like, "Yeah, don't you think I would have put it in there if I had it?" Like, Mother Hucker, I'm showing you the cards I have. Don't tell me the cards you think I should put in because I don't have them. Like in some cases I had him. I was like, oh, that's a good thing. I think I have that over here. But what the, he'll pull like a $45, $50 card. I'll be like, no. And Jake was having a good old time though. Jake was very helpful. And I think this deck is going to be interesting. Jake's going to try to see if he can join us. I guess Wednesday night is when he's editing his show now, which I'm like, well, Mother Hucker, I wouldn't have put you on our network if it meant you couldn't play Commander Craft. Like, we're supposed to come first, dude. So maybe move your release to Fridays. Just saying it. Just throw that out there. People can listen to it on their way to work Friday. Just saying. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So that's going to be played Friday night. But here's the thing, guys. That's just it. If you want to play Commander Craft, now's the time because I'm going to be doing an untried deck.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've made a few changes. I removed a few things. I really like Immortal Sun. I put it back in. I'm like, yeah, it's a 6-drop, but
it's really powerful. I mean, it's the biggest knock against it is the mana cost, but I mean, everything else that it does. I mean,
letting me draw 2 cards, making everything 1/1.
You don't have any planeswalkers in your deck, do you?
No, that's why. If I don't have planeswalkers, I start thinking about putting that in. I thought about putting a few in. I thought about putting Nissa in, and I thought about putting Ren at 7. But I was like, yeah, it's too much green. It's bad enough I'm 5 color. It's really bad if you got to start dueling. Can I bring Pramicon Pillow Fight on Wednesday?
Ooh.
And he's laughing because he expects that I know what that means. I literally know what none of those words mean. I know what on Wednesday means.
Pramicon is the commander. It's the legendary wall that you can only attack people to your left or your right.
Listen,
And then he basically sits there with like all sorts of stuff to make it so that everybody else has to attack everybody else, but not him. Yeah, I like that deck. I mean, I'm bringing Gen for game 1. I have a bunch of decks that I updated, so I have basically everything except for 3 decks available for game 2 because they've all been updated and had a couple of cards here and there changed. So I could bring anything. I could bring Yidris for game 2.
I'm just gonna put this out there. No Zakama.
But I updated the mana base.
Oh fuck!
So I put in my ancient tomb.
Here's the thing: Levi, he suggested it. A few other people have too. This may become a thing. I mean, not something we could do all the time. Here's the thing, folks. I mean, I'm gonna lay it all out there for you right now. I mean, Aramis and I are in our mid to late 40s. We have wives.
Excuse me. All right, excuse me. Mid to late 40s. I haven't even hit 40 yet.
I know you're in late 30s. Shut the fuck up. I'm in my late 40s, and Aramis is in his mid 20s, and
but the hairline of a 50-year-old.
Oh, well, yeah. What are you gonna do? Yeah, the more hair you lose on your head, the more I get into my chin. So this is good.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I think eventually just reverse where the hair goes. So,
the point is though, we have a hard time like doing extra shows. We'd love to. I think we both would love to like program 5 nights of PlanesTalkers a week. Our wives would shoot us. We would end up getting divorced. We'd end up living together. We'd then kill each other. So
you first.
Yeah, well, yeah, you got me. Yeah, let's face it, I'm slow, fat. You got me. You're spry.
No, it's not that. It's because you go to bed at 7:30 at night.
Oh yeah, I'm like wicked early in bed. Well, I'm not saying we're sharing a room. If we're in a place, man, it's a 2-bedroom. I can go to bed whenever. Although then again, I mean, if my wife kicks me out, I got to bring ladies over anyway. You'll hate me just because, I mean, my standards as far as women over were 8 or 80, lame, sick, or crazy. If they couldn't walk, I wheel them. But that would probably drive you to drink. This could be worthwhile.
So your whole philosophy on life is old enough to have a Happy Meal, old enough to be one.
How about old enough to serve a Happy Meal? Old enough to be...
You had to think about that. That's more terrifying.
Well, I was trying to think about things that I could say that would not get me fired from any job I might, work at one day. Because believe me, my first response was to think about the Matthew McConaughey line from Dazed and Confused, where he's just like, "I love high school girls. I keep getting older, but they stay the same age." Which, by the way, if you have never seen Dazed and Confused, worthwhile watch. But that being said, that could be something we do on special occasions, like maybe 3-day weekends especially when we get closer to the holidays. Here's the thing. We did not take off half as much during the summer as I thought we would. We are at 115 episodes, and I think we started the year at, I think we were just above 70. So, I mean, we're doing really, really well. I'm going to reserve the right, guys, because last year it happened. There may be weeks, like when we get closer to Thanksgiving, Christmas, during the holiday season, if it's a Monday night and there's nothing happening and nothing firing, we may just be like, hey, we're not, which might be a night when we do something like build a commander deck or something. So I could see us doing that. So we're going to kind of talk about it. Maybe I'll bring it to the Patreon call, which we probably should schedule at some point. At this point, we just should schedule it in December, where we can kind of bring that up and kind of come up with a time and a place to do that. But I really enjoyed it. Today was kind of a test on that to see how it would go. I think the way I did it was really good in that it was collaborative. It was in the Discord, so somebody could hop in and be in and out. And, what we would do is we would tell somebody, hey, send us a list of the cards you're thinking. So give us 200 cards, or 100 cards minus the mana base. And, so that people can be prepared. But it's something to think about. But with that being in mind, anything else you can think of, or what do you think of that idea?
I think it's a good idea. I mean, it's a nice alternate piece of content. Like even if by some miracle we don't have players for a Wednesday night, that could be a week that we do that. I mean, it could even be where we take the decks we have and say, hey, this is the deck I have.
Yeah.
Do you think there could be an edit? I mean, that would be an opportunity for me for my decks, because full disclosure, boys and girls, when I build my commander decks, these are not really original decks. I
No,
go
you're
on to
EDH.
EDH Rec. I go to EDH Rec and I click average deck, and that's basically what I build.
See, for me, I do go to EDH Rec, but I'm looking at cards that I might already have and where they fit, or looking at how they build stuff and going, okay, well, like, I don't, believe it or not, I don't have doubling season, but I have Anointed Procession. So I'm like, okay, well,
You know how much Anointed Procession is now?
I have no idea.
It's crazy. I'll show
wow.
you. Keep talking, I'll find it.
But so, I mean, that's kind of what I use EDH Rec for, is I'll look at it. And I did that today. There were cards that EDH Rec was saying I should have in an Ur Dragon deck that I don't got, like triplet or triple.
They're $34 a piece.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
But the triple cards you were telling me about, like, I don't have that. Now I might get it before Wednesday.
Fiery Emancipation?
Yeah. I have Fiery Emancipation. No, triple threat, or you guys were like triple this, and it came out in one of the commander sets recently, and
I don't know what that one was.
But in any event, they were telling me I should have it. I'm like, listen, I don't, but I have this card that does some of the same thing. But here's the thing. I'm probably going to try to go to Flights on Wednesday and hit there. And first of all, by the way, you went to Flights this week.
I finally went to Flights.
What did you think?
I might have left a puddle of drool on the floor.
He has a store.
He's got some nice old, like, I'll be honest, if I had the money to plunk down, I totally would have gotten a revised starter.
I know. What is it? $500?
It's $1,800.
Aramis, I'm going to tell you right now.
That store's going to get me in trouble.
No, let me just put this to you right now. Okay, I am your friend. Again, I love you. I've said this a few times. That's more times. Wow, this stuff's really good. I'm already at the I love you phase. But legit, I love you. If you plunk $1,800 down for anything Magic related, anything that doesn't involve going somewhere and playing in an event, I'm literally going to come and slash your tires, because you can't do that, sir.
I mean, he's got the stuff in his case.
I know.
He showed me the triplets,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, "Oh my god!" And I showed him. I showed him because my wife was there. She took me there for the anniversary. She said, "You can go spend $50 on cards."
Oh,
and I was like, "All right,
that's so sweet." My wife would not do that.
So we went there, and I was like, because he had a I think it was a revised or unlimited. He had an unlimited Black Lotus sitting in the case. And he's like, do you want to see the triplets? I'm like, what do you mean the triplets? He's like, I got 3 more of those. I'm like, fuck you. So he comes out with his alpha, beta, and unlimited or Lotuses. And he's like, $250,000 right there. I'm like, shut the fuck up. It was crazy. And I just basically spent there like not knowing what to get because all of it was there.
Yeah.
So what I finally ended up getting was a pack of Mirrodin and a pack of Darksteel.
Yeah. What'd you pull?
The Mirrodin pack was a dud. Nothing in there was more than $1. The Darksteel pack, I pulled an Aether Vial, which is an uncommon, but it's a $35 uncommon now.
Right.
So like, that was a pretty nice pull. And it's like, I feel like if I go back there the next time I go, I'm gonna pick up another old pack. I mean, just for the nostalgia.
Right.
Maybe see if they have any Onslaught packs to pull a fetch land. It still pisses me off. I had a foil Polluted Delta. Those are like $150, $160 now. He had a Gaia's Cradle there. I had a Gaia's Cradle. Those are $1,200.
They're 18, I was reading. So yeah.
It depends on where you go. But yeah, I mean, you're spending over $1,000 for a Gaia's Cradle. It's like, motherfucker, I had one of these. I gave it away.
I know. I'm the same way. Like, I just think about some of that stuff and I'm like, ugh.
So I know that store is going to get me into some trouble if I'm not careful.
Yeah.
Because there's some really good stuff there.
And we'll talk offline about possibly trying to do something with them at some point. We got a few ideas. So, but with that, I mean, that we're kind of right at the 1 hour mark. So, well, 1 hour and 13. So, but I mean, yeah, I didn't want to let that go. I mean, the fact you got to go to Flights too is kind of exciting. And like I said,
awesome. The store is awesome.
Like, that's just it. I'm going to go there Wednesday and I'm pretty sure I can get, the card I need. So, I'm definitely probably going to stop by there on my way home Wednesday afternoon and, pick up a few things and, my deck should be all set to go. And that's kind of where it's kind of a great store for us to kind of go into. So, But
he's constantly working on it. It's a good spot.
He really is. He's doing pretty good. So on that note, why don't we go ahead and go to
End step.
all right, end step. So while we're rolling up our play mats, putting our cards back in their boxes, taking the pizza boxes to the trash, because darn it, your mother still does not work in this game store, we want to remind you that we have an awesome Twitch channel where we stream all sorts of content, from Minecraft to DCU Online to Farming Simulator to any number of stuff. Look up the PlanesTalkers podcast channel on Twitch. You're going to see all the shows we do on Magic and any other geeky games we want. And you could always follow me also. I have a personal Twitch. I'm at Mindcrime73.
And if you want to interact with the show in more of a real-time fashion, more, right when we're here talking back and forth like some of our listeners were tonight, join our Discord. It's discord.planestalkerspodcast.com. That's where you can go to meet up with a really great community. That's where you can go if you want to play Commander Craft. That's one of the places you have to go to be able to do it. We do our winter box tournaments through Discord. You have to be registered in the Discord to be able to enter into those. And lots of folks there always willing to chat about Magic or anything else that's on your mind. So discord.planestalkerspodcast.com. And if Twitter is more your speed, you want to follow us that way. We normally tweet when we're going live, or if something really important happens, we feel like we got to talk about it. Go to @PlanesTalkerPod on Twitter and follow us there.
And I have a personal Twitter. It's @WRBenson. Now, I don't tweet there very often. But you can also find our Facebook page. It's at facebook.com/PlanesTalker, not PlanesTalkers, but PlanesTalker, mostly because some guy who liked airplanes took that spot. So like and follow our page. And don't forget, we do a playcast on Wednesdays where we play Paper Commander live. Tune in to that and all of our channels right around 7 Eastern Wednesday. It's called Commander Craft. Right now, we do not have any patrons playing. Levi, if you want in, go on to the Patreon channel in Discord and let us know you're in. But right now, we have 2 open seats for the first game and at least 1 open seat for the second. Want to be a part of it? Let us know. Patrons are until tomorrow morning, and then anyone can sign up after that. Just go to our Discord.
And finally, if you want to send us an email, you have a question about the show, maybe a suggestion for something to cover in another show, there's 3 different email addresses you can use to contact us. The first email address goes to both of us. We both see it. It's podcast@planestalkerspodcast.com. If you'd like to email Will directly, his email address is will@planestalkerspodcast.com. If you'd like to email me directly, it is Aramis, ARAMIS, @planestalkerspodcast.com.
And on that note, we want to thank you guys for tuning in tonight to episode 116 of the PlanesTalkers podcast. We will be back next Monday with episode 117. We'll also be here Wednesday night for Commander Craft, so you won't want to miss that. Again, thank you for watching. If you're watching us live, thank you for listening if you're driving into work on your podcatcher. And we are so thankful to have you around. So for Aramis Perez, this is Will Benson saying thanks for listeners. Have a great week. And remember to keep some of your mana untapped because you never know when you need it. Take care and have a good one. Bye-bye. And thanks for being listeners, not thanks for listeners.
Yeah, thanks for
Yeah, so bye now. We'll
bye,
say bye. Bye, yeah.
Bye. Bye.
I've been drinking too much, I think. Yeah,
you hang up first.
This is what happens. Goddamn triples.
What episode is this?
116.
116.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out what that card was. I thought it was something triple, but it's not triplets, but it was...
Do you remember what it does?
No, but it was from Commander Legends, and they were like, you don't have that? You should have that. Everybody... You even said it. It's like an uncommon, but you didn't... You were on the call, too, at the time. Oh, fuck.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it.
Episode 116 is heading your way. Slowly. Yeah, Dave's got a nice place.
Yeah. 3 visits. That's what it was.
3 visits. Okay.
3
yeah.
visits.
That wasn't me that was saying that. That was Steve that was saying, you don't have one?
Yeah,
Because
I'm
I opened a box of Commander Legends. I only got one.
I didn't get any. I'm like, dude, with all the boxes you guys opened, I'm like, motherfucker, I opened one.
Yeah, I opened one box.
We did it on air.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, like, I wasn't terribly impressed with that set.
No, I was pretty cool with opening the one. Yeah, I was pretty.
Yeah.
You know, there was
I was
some
happy
good
with
stuff. That it you know, usually you got at least one or two cool toolbox cards.
Yeah,
You know, and then it kind
I
of
feel like they got too cute with it being Commander for limited.
right. So and now they're doing Commander Legends too. So who knows what that'll look like.
Yeah, and that's D&D thing. So I don't know. I mean, they'll hopefully take some lessons from the first Commander Legends and make sure these foils don't Pringle in 2 seconds.
Right. Well, I'm seeing some Pringling happening.
They've been doing better with the foils overall,
Right.
though.
Right. So
lately.
3 visits is the one I'm going to go to on Wednesday because he's
Yeah.
right. It would be a good card for me to have. So, and I'm sure
Yep, it's
gonna cost me,
nature's lore. That's
Yeah.
exactly what it is.
which I already have. I have a Nature's Lore.
Yeah. But
So-
it's redundancy, and that's
Yeah.
the name of the game in Commander. Since you can only have one of a card, if you have 2 cards do the same thing,
Yeah.
awesome.
So, I was going to try to put Archimedes in, I think, or whatever it is, the dragon there that like does crazy stupid stuff, and then I was like, I didn't want to get too
stupid
cute.
stuff.
I think it turns into like a human.
Oh, arcades, not arcades, Chromium,
Yeah.
Chromium the Mutable.
Or Arcades was the other one there.
Arcades is the one that likes that cares about Defender.
Yeah, that's the one. And I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't really have defenders, so
He's not good.
no.
Not in that deck anyway. You need to have a
I got to get a Herald's Horn
Um,
somewhere.
Balefire Dragon.
Yeah.
That thing is stupid.
Well, if he's got one there, I'll take a look.
He probably would. I mean, it's a 6/6 flyer. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, it deals 6 damage to each creature that player controls.
You know what? I should make a list. You know what? Let's open Notepad here.
Hey, get the it's called MTG Trades app. That's what I use for all my want lists.
Yeah, because that's not bad. Because then I can walk in and be like, I need this, this, and this.
Yeah, that's how I do it. When I go to Kerwin's, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna buy some singles, and I start
And then he's like, oh, so what Kamigawa dragons you got? I'm like, motherfucker, I wasn't playing a Kamigawa. I got none of them. What do you, Steve? Shut the fuck up.
oh, he's talking like Ryusei and all them.
Yeah, I'm just like, come on,
Kokusho.
man. Look, I love you, man. I do. I love you. He's been, but sometimes I'm like, I was joking during the show, but I'm like, you humble bragging motherfucker.
Yeah, the Kamigawa dragons were reprinted in one of the Masters
Right.
sets. I know that. Like, I think Iconic Masters.
So what was the name of that one I should grab? You said
Balefire Dragon.
Balefire Dragon.
I think it's Balefire. Yeah, it's one of the Innistrad dragons. It's
3
disgusting.
visits, yeah. Oh. Since I don't have to take that, because I did put in, I thought about putting a Sika in, but I don't have enough gods.
Yeah, that's not worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Balefire Dragon. The Ultimate Masters version is about $33.
Yeah.
It's a 7-drop, but it's a 6/6 flyer. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, it deals that much damage to each creature that player controls.
Yeah. I really wasn't going to put Teferi's
real good.
Protect. I can't find my Vampiric Tutor, which really bothers me.
I need to get a Vampiric Tutor.
I had one. I mean, I opened one.
Right. Yeah, I don't have one.
It's got to be somewhere.
I got a bunch of demonics now.
Yeah. I didn't open any demonics. I got to buy one. But
I opened 2 and bought like 2 or 3 more.
I could probably trade you a gold span for one. You don't have any, right?
Gold spans?
Yeah.
No, I don't have any gold spans. But all my demonic tutors are currently spoken for.
Ah.
They're all in commander decks that are under construction.
Yeah. And I bought 2 4-packs of Jumpstart. Did not get a Crater Hoof, but I got a few little toys. So I
Oracles of Moldiah?
No, I've had 2 Oracles of Moldiah.
Never got lucky with getting an Oracle. Need to get one of those.
Somebody was like, I should put Sunbird's Invocation in this deck. I was like,
Sunbird's Invocation's a fun. I just took that out of the Zakama deck.
Yeah, it's a fun card, but it's like for a 6-drop,
It's so when it goes off, it's so good though.
Yeah,
because it's like Cascade.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just took it out as a comma, and I hated doing it, but
I
love that
might
card.
get at some point. I think I need just for any of my stupid these like tribal decks, I probably should get at least one Aramis Incubator.
Yeah, especially for dragons, you need Urza's Incubator. Absolutely.
Which I don't have. So, yeah, I'll
What you
probably
can
walk
use
in
in the
there and spend
meantime-
100. Oh, I've got
There's
the what do you call it? I've got two of the things that cheapen them.
Okay.
The one there that's
the creatures.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a horn that does it too.
That horn I've got in there, but no, which was it? There's an artifact that there's another artifact that does it that was out in like guilds. It's oh yeah, and I'm using I managed to get for all my basics. I'm using the Innistrades.
Okay.
So
you have a world tree in there?
I do.
Yeah,
so that was.
I mean, you're never looking to activate it, but just to have the fixing.
Yeah. Icon of Ancestry.
Okay.
So I threw that. It doesn't cheapen things, but it does, give a.
Get yourself a coat of arms.
Yeah, I should get a coat of arms. Yeah, again, I'm gonna go to. I wish they were open tomorrow. I would have gone today if I was at work, but I wish because now they expanded their hours on Mondays. So.
I heard. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
I would go.
I'll go back down there again soon. I don't know how soon, but soon.
Yeah, that's just it. You don't go to work anymore. It's not like you can go on the way home. It's like
no, but it's about the same distance.
Yeah.
So.
And I this is not a slam on Kerwin's. They're still our main store, but it's wow. Just the amount of product he has.
So. Yeah, don't forget I want to talk to you about that one thing offline.
Well, yeah, I can probably end this here. I'm trying to open Dropbox now.
I think we have it now. Yeah, should be up to date.
I just haven't put mine up there yet. You're almost out of space. Not happening. PlanesTalkers. I just got to get rid of 500 million of these. Where's the file? Yeah. PT-116. I can get rid of 14. No, those aren't taking up anything.
I'm missing one card for the next deck I'm building, and I had ordered it, but it got taken out of the cart right at the end.
Who took it out?
I hate that. The system did.
Oh, fuckers.
So like I ordered it and everything was there, but then by the time that they shipped it, it was off the order. So I think like somebody else had grabbed it. It was the only one that they had left, and I think somebody else probably just clicked a little faster. So I was fully expecting to get it, and then when it wasn't there, I'm like, oh motherfucker! Now I got to get it again.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
Hoping to have it ready for this week, but it's gonna have to be at least another week or two.
All right, my file's up there. So, guys, we're gonna go ahead and end this now. We're gonna do a little meeting here offline. We'll see you guys Wednesday night. Thanks for hanging out with us, and hope you guys have a good one.